Hello guys, Moses here. So I was going through the kasneb's last sitting, which by the way is an accounting body similar to acca, cifa. In fact, let me know the dominant accounting body in your country. And so I thought I should just go through the questions and try to answer some of them in a video form. First of all, there's a link in the video description where you can download the past exam paper and then go through the questions. So the first question was about morality and law, which I'm not really going to cover in this video since there's a comprehensive video answering that, and the link is in the video description. Now, what I'm going to look at is question 2, which was about the law of torts. Now the question was, describe 3 circumstances in which a person employing an independent contractor might still be liable for the person's torts. Okay, so now, what is expected of us here to talk about is vicarious liability. That is where the question is coming from. So in vicarious liability, first of all, the general principle is that each person is liable for their own torts. But there are circumstances when another person may actually be liable for someone else's torts. For instance, employees and employers kind of relationship, in which case the employer is in most cases going to be liable for the torts committed by the employee. Although this depends on 2 circumstances. Number 1, where there is a master-servant relationship, and number 2, where the act in question was done during the course of employment. But the problem usually is to determine whether someone is an employee or not. And of course, there are a number of tests that are used to determine this. The first one being the control test, where we look at how the person does their job and whether or not the employee is actually controlling how they do it and what they actually do. Now, the second one is the integration test, where the courts will actually look at the skills of the employee and see to it if it's possible for the employer to control them. And then the third one is the multiple or the economic reality test. Now that is not what the question really asked, that is just a background. The question was actually keen on you figuring out the circumstances under which a person may be liable for the torts committed by an independent contractor. So the thing you have to remember here is that there are 2 kinds of contracts in relation to employment. There is the contract of employment, and then there's the contract for employment. Now, independent contractors usually tend to be under the contract for employment, which simply means they are liable for their own torts. But there are circumstances under which the employer or another person may actually end up being liable for the torts committed by the independent contractor. And the first one is if the person decides to control the nature in which, or rather the way in which the independent contractor does their job. And number 2 is if the contract itself becomes a tort, for example, nuisance. Now, look at this. Say you hire somebody to construct a house or something for you, and as they are working, debris from this house, which is under construction, fall onto your neighbor's land. Now, your neighbor has a choice. I mean, he could sue you or he could sue the contractor, but to be honest, he or she is not going to sue the contractor, he is going to sue you. And so under such circumstances, you will have adopted the torts committed by the independent contractor. And the third one is where the rule in Rayland v. Fletcher 1866 apply. Now that is actually strict liability, which we shall look at in an upcoming video. But the highlights are simple. Under strict liability, a person is liable for the torts even though there is no fault on their, or rather on his or her side. And the last one, although the question asked for 3, the last one is supposing there's some statutory authority which sort of makes it, makes you liable for the torts committed by the independent contractor. So, download the paper, go through the question, and let me know what you think. If there's a question that you need tackled immediately, let me just know in the comment section. I'm still going to go through some of the questions and then we'll go through it together. Also, do me a favor, subscribe to this channel and let me know what you think.